guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mackie and welcome to this week's fun little crafting and reading vlog. Now if you don't already know or if you haven't watched any of my videos before, I'm a girl who really loves my hobbies, which basically just include two things, reading books and crocheting, and so I thought we'd combine them in today's little reading vlog. Now a few months ago, I actually did making a squishmallow and listening to audiobooks to see how long it would take. But then now I have a bit of a backstory for what I'm about to do. So back in 2022, which was I believe the year I really got deep into crochet, because I knew it from like a kid or whatever. My grandma had taught it to me, she taught me knitting as well. But that was the year I truly fell into the rabbit hole, mainly because of the surge of crochet talk and all these crochet YouTubers popping into my feed, loving it basically. And that year I actually made 2 sweater vests, both for my granddads, except my mom's dad, so that's my maternal granddad, he doesn't live in the same city as us. So while I did manage to nail the one for my dad's dad, my paternal granddad, and I got it correct, I messed the sizing up completely on my mom's dad's sweater vest, and it wasn't until recently that I found out that he's never actually used it because the size is so bad. I'm gonna show it to you on myself for a second so you can see how big it is and how I completely messed it up. But that's what happens when you don't really know how to do gauge, you don't really know how to figure out sizing, and I guess I was a newbie back then. So now I want to retest my skills. I'm gonna open up a whole crochet sweater vest. It's huge. I made all of this 2 years ago, except I'm opening it up now to remake it, and this time I'm gonna be listening to the most viral TikTok fantasy books while doing it, so I'm entertained while I crochet because I want to have this ready to give to him. I want to gift it to him in the next couple of weeks because I'm pretty sure they're going to be in town, and I thought if I want to be productive and do it, I might as well bring you guys along with me, because if I don't do that, it's probably going to take me more than 2 weeks and I won't be focused. So in this week's reading vlog, or technically crafting and reading vlog, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna remake it to the size that actually is required and actually will be usable, because I want utility out of what I make. And I've been watching a lot of videos of people ripping their projects open and redoing it. I think it's called frogging in the crochet world, when you open your project up, remake it to something you actually want, and that's all I need, honestly. I don't want something and I don't need something in my life that isn't useful, and so we're gonna make this useful. Now I have a few books picked out for this week's TBR. I don't know anything about them because I don't know if I've said it or not, but I don't really read fantasy. I've read maybe 3 this entire year, and I haven't read any before that. Maybe I did when I was younger, but ever since I've gotten back into reading, I haven't really read any. Akator is the best one I've read so far. I'm going to continue the series at some point, maybe in this video, but let's go pick our first book, and I'm going to start unraveling this, making yarn out of it so we can reuse the whole thing, open it back up and start with it. And let's just get into it. You know the mess behind me, but basically, look at how long this is. It's nearly reaching my knees. It's falling off. I have to keep it on so it doesn't slide off. We really need to do something about this because right now it looks like a dress. I have overshot it, and while I do love the way it turned out, and I'm going to replicate the same pattern because I actually did that from a YouTube video I found, and I refound it so we could use it for this purpose. I will have to severely cut down on size because look at this, it's so big. It literally isn't even staying on. But anyway, let's just go start with it. This is what I mean when I say I have noob skills, because the outside looks fine, but when I flipped it on the inside to remove the stitching so I can separate the 2 panels and start unraveling, this is how I've stitched it internally. And a better example would be, just look at this. What is this thing coming out? And then even worse than that is what I've done on the side. How am I supposed to open this up? It's gonna take so long, but I've got my audiobook queued up. I'm starting with 9th house if anyone cares, and I'll come update hopefully when I'm done unraveling this, because it's gonna be such a mess and I don't want to keep coming and keep bothering and make this video like 2 hours long, but genuinely I'm so freaking scared. guys, so it's update time. It's actually the next day from when I started. So I started yesterday Friday, today is Saturday, and I just found out that tentatively my uncle, who he'll give the sweater to then my granddad who can try it on finally, he's coming on Friday, which means I have exactly a week, but because today is basically over, I'll say 6.5 days to finish a sweater that I originally made in a whole month of summer. Anyway, on a better note, I did end up finishing making all the yarn. I didn't actually make it, I just put it through all these random processes that I keep seeing in videos, and I have tried the method once before when I unraveled something else and redid it, and I found it very useful. I found it successful, I'm just gonna say that. So I repeated it this time, and basically what I did was open the whole sweater out, wind the yarn around the chair I have in my room, and make skeins out of it, like all separate ones. Cut open all the knots, because back then I'd like knot it in this really ugly way to like join the yarn, but now I know that there are different methods, so I cut all of those out, which is why it's all different. But then after I took the skeins I made on the chair, I actually went ahead and kind of washed them out in mild lukewarm water, I guess you could say, because I'm a neat freak, I am a clean freak, I'm weird about cleaning. Then I wound the entire thing back out, let it all dry, you've seen the clips, and then I was winding it back into cakes, which is why it looks like a neat little, I don't know, like a donut kind of. I don't know why it's called a cake, it looks like a donut to me, but genuinely I'm so excited to start using these because they're so easy and handy too. And I have 8, which is so crazy because I don't know if I'm going to use all 8. They're a little wet because they're still not dry completely and I just started, but here we are. And the best part is, while I was doing this, I was listening to our book, the first viral TikTok book for the video, and I started with 9th house, which I'm thinking back in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea because it doesn't feel very beginner friendly into fantasy. That's what I'm looking for. Here we are, and surprisingly all the things I described to you, all the things I did to make the yarn the way it is right now, fix it I guess, because I didn't want it to be all springy noodle while I'm trying to crochet. That's really hard to work with, and now it's kind of straight, it's borderline straight. I managed to listen to halfway, exactly 50% of 9th house. I finished wrapping these up midway into the book, so I paused it mid-chapter to come update you guys, but then I was so tired I took a nap, hence why it's much later, and I'm going in for dinner soon, which is why I had to come in for my quick update because I know I want to spend the rest of the night, at least some of it, trying to start the sweater now and continue. But I don't know if 9th house is such a good decision to keep listening to because it's so complicated. I don't know why, maybe I just can't catch it. I continue because if you notice the sweater, it's got like these complicated chain stitches at the beginning, and genuinely I don't remember how I did it. So while I have to go learn the 4, I think, line repeat from the video again, which was complicated in the first place, I don't want to muddle anything up in the book or in the sweater, which is why I don't know if I should take a pause on that and come back later when the design is simpler in my opinion, but I'm still contemplating that. And basically 9th house, I don't really know anything. I'm not even joking, I don't understand what's going on. I'm halfway into the book, I am still trying to figure things out, but it's a start of a fantasy series, so I guess it's building, and I mean I shouldn't really be concerned, it's taking time, but like here we are. It follows Alex Stern. She kind of has these like weird powers or whatever, wherein she can see the dead. She can quite literally see them, they're walking by, and they're called Greys in the book. And then because of that, she gets recruited to join Yale, except they have secret societies there, which talks into one of the biggest conspiracy theories I didn't even know existed. And basically she's gonna be part of these societies, learn their magic. There's all these different systems, there's way of communicating with the dead, there's all these different things happening. It's very interesting, but it's taking so long to build. But if you're like an avid fantasy reader, it also feels so very fall and winter because it's literally set in that time, so you should definitely check it out. And then it goes back and forth between, I think, past and present timeline of winter and fall so far where I'm at, because something happened in the past and then now something is happening in the present and you're trying to line the events up. And in the present actually there was a murder and she thinks it was in connection to one of the societies because they have like sacrifices and stuff, except the society wasn't really supposed to do that because they need permission to do it, which is why it's called a murder, not a sacrifice. And so she's trying to get to the bottom of all of this, someone stopping her, the whole jazz, you know what I mean? You probably don't, I'm trying to figure it out myself. but hopefully when I do, I will come give you more updates. Just right now, there's so much world building trying to understand, because I feel like you are directly thrown into it, and because of that, I'm just so confused and I'm not finding it very enjoyable, the book. Like, I wish there was a little more, I don't know, just like easier start into it, I guess. But then again, I'm not one to complain because I really need to get back into fantasy, and if this is the way I'm doing it, throwing myself into the deep end, you know what, I'm gonna accept it, I'm gonna claim it as what I wanted to do, and I'm just gonna move on with it because people love this book and I can see why. I can see the dark academia vibes, but also it's kind of confusing for me and my little last brain cell that's surviving on no coffee. But anyway, I'm gonna keep listening. I am enjoying Leigh Bardugo's writing style. It's so weird because I've never read anything like it, which is the best part of reading fantasy, I guess. So I can't wait to get into more, maybe more of her books, maybe more of her TBR. It'll be so fun. And I'm just gonna go continue making my sweater now, or start it, because I haven't started yet. I have 8 of these, I think I may have said that. So I'm just gonna pick this one up. We're gonna start. Again, I have to figure out measurements on it so I don't mess it up this time, which is why I'm really thinking or considering that I might switch up the audiobook just for now, so I can get through to an easier part where I can pick this back up because it's too heavy on my brain. But at the same time, I want the video to be cohesive. So I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna deal with my dilemmas. That's a good one. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hi guys, so it's actually been a week, literally a week since I last updated. My uncle came and he went when he was in town, but funny enough, or luckily enough, he's coming again in 10 days and I just didn't know that, so that's kind of perfect. A little over 10 days, maybe like 12ish, which means we still have time to get this done, still make it a little bit of like a challenge and get through it, so I can finally get it done and have it ready, you know, because I'm so excited to see what the final product looks like this time, when I think the sizing might be correct, but again, I'm like at 50-50, so hopefully it will be. But since my last update, I have gotten a haircut. Please tell me it looks good. That's all I need right now. And apart from that, I also put the lights up on the window, so I hope that isn't like distracting from the clip, because that would be really annoying to edit and look back on. But I don't know, we'll figure it out when I get there. Now, since my last update, I didn't want it to become like monotonous and boring with me just coming and showing you like every time I did like a couple of lines on it. So I figured I want like a big massive update, which is why I just didn't come and say anything. But I have gotten quite a decent way of making this. In fact, just now I started decreasing for kind of making like the neckline going inward, if you've seen in the little before clips I put in. Now, I did record little like b-roll clips of my progress updates while I was reading the books or listening to them, and I have gotten through quite a decent amount of books through my TBR, which is so interesting because I didn't even finish one side, but I'm done with like 3 books and on my 4th, so let's talk about it. I finished reading 9th House, and I will say I was not interested in this book up until I'd say maybe 60-65%, and then that's when it started really getting me. And then the ending, when I tell you this book had more plot twists in it than a normal mystery thriller book, and it's fantasy with secret societies and conspiracies and magic and just all this crazy dark academia stuff that's happening, you have to go read this book. It's perfect for all vibes. I don't see anything wrong with it. I just wish it had like a quicker start, but also I understand it was setting up for the world, and the way it ended, I was at the beginning contemplating even continuing with it, but then now I fear I must read Hellbent. I need to know what happens next, especially the way it ended. So I know I will be reading it, and I don't know if I'm exactly continuing this video over the span of this week. I don't know. I'll talk about that in a second. But depending on what I end up doing, I'm probably getting to Hellbent either this week or next, after I'm done with this side at least. So that's a good thing for me. I gave it 4 stars. Again, I haven't read so much fantasy that I know how I want to go about rating them, but it felt like a 4 to me because it was slower to get into, even though I enjoyed it. So that's for Hellbent. After that, I read and finished The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I think that's what it's called. And I actually saw it in a couple of like reviewers' TikToks, and it sounded so good. It basically follows this girl. Her village believes in this mystery wherein they are being plagued by like sea disasters. So either there's droughts or there's famines, and then basically there's some sort of water problem, and it's because of the sea god's wrath. So the village believes if they sacrifice a bride to the sea god every year, so like a girl getting down to marry the sea god or whatever, then he will, you know, ease up for a year, he'll back up, he won't like cause destruction on their lands or whatever. And so they're actually sacrificing this girl from the village, except our main girl, her brother likes the girl that's being sacrificed. So he goes on the ship to kind of save her, and she goes, the main girl, to save her brother. This makes no sense, but also I think I may have forgotten the names because it's been a little bit, 3-ish, maybe 4 days since I finished it, so I don't really know. But basically our main girl, I think her name is Mina, she gets on the ship to save her brother June, who's going to go save the love of his life, who is being sacrificed. And in the middle of that, Mina ends up sacrificing herself to save her brother's love and her brother. And because she does that, she ends up in this other realm, I guess, wherein actually the sea god is being plagued by, I guess you can call it like a curse. So she needs to get rid of the curse so that he can return to his normal state and protect his people from all the destruction, because he isn't the one actually causing it, it's the curse. And in the midst of all of that, she needs to figure out how to break it, how to figure out the fate and destiny. It's very interesting. I'm not trying to give anything away at the moment because it goes so much deeper than that, but genuinely this might have been one of the quickest fantasy books I got through, even though it's one of the first ones. I read it in maybe 2 days or listened to it while I was doing this, and it was so crazy because it was just flowing by. Like I look up and it just reads that, oh, I finished like 2 hours ago or whatever, and I was just like, huh? Because I am normally a jumpy person and I won't really sit in one spot for like too long, I will get bored. So the fact that this kept my attention is really cool, and I really enjoyed it. The way it flowed, the way the storyline went, the romance was really sweet. This book was kind of giving Howl's Moving Castle and ACOTAR, though I'm not sure if that's because one of my friends, she was reading Howl's Moving Castle and giving me updates at the time I was reading this book, and that I was thinking about ACOTAR also while I was reading the book, I don't know. But also the fact that the curse is there and whatever, it did give me both of those books. So if you like those vibes, you might enjoy this one. And it felt like a cozy book, but at the same time there were high stakes kind of. So I don't know, it was very interesting to me. I got through it really fast. It was good to get through, and I gave this book 4 stars as well. Now the only thing that's confusing me is I feel differently about Ninth House and I feel differently about The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, but I gave both of them 4 stars. So I'm trying to figure out like a fantasy rating system, even though I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing yet because I haven't read so many fantasy books, and I think this is a fun way to experiment and get into it. But definitely, if I had to recommend, I wouldn't say you should pick up Ninth House as a beginner, being a beginner myself and getting bored for maybe the first 60%. The second one, however, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, 100%. If you want to be a fantasy reader, if you want something easy to get into fantasy with, you should definitely choose this because it was just so quick and it was flying by and it was easy to understand. I had a good time. Now after that, I actually finished this book last night. It's called The Prison Healer. Essentially it follows this girl Kiva. I know the name because I finished it last night, and she works as the prison healer basically. So there's this high security prison in this magical fantasy land, and she works to heal all the prisoners that come in there because they have all these tasks the prisoners need to get to. So some of them are quarrying, some of them are mining, some of them are digging for water or whatever in the aquifer. So when they get injured, they come to Kiva for healing, and new prisoners are also sent to Kiva so she can brand them before they actually get to go into the jail. Except one day, it's the dead of winter and a sick woman kind of comes in, and you find out she's the rebel queen. So in this realm, there's actually kind of like a feud going on between the royals and the rebels, wherein the rebels are trying to get the throne of the royals because they have their own reasoning. When you read the book, you'll get it. And the rebel queen, she's the leader of the rebels, and she falls into kind of royal hands when she goes to the jail, except she isn't doing so great. She's ill, so she's brought to Kiva for attention. Kiva has to medically help her before the queen actually has to face these kind of like trials for, I guess, treason against the throne. I don't know how to explain it, but because she was rebelling and she was like the leader of them all, she needs to go through the punishment of 4 ordeals. There's like a trial by air, there's a trial by fire, earth, water. Basically she needs to go through all these trials, and if she survives in the end, then she can be given her freedom. If she does not, the queen will be killed. But the queen is not well, she can't make it through these trials, and so Kiva figures she needs to take these trials on in good conscience on the queen's behalf, and that's what she ends up doing so that she can kind of give the queen a fighting chance, because the queen's gonna die if she takes the trials. They're the worst. most dangerous things you could ever do, I guess, in the world at least. So she takes these trials on and she's getting through them one at a time, but also at the same time in the background of the prison there's kind of this like sickness that's spreading about. So the focus is between Kiva trying to solve the sickness and Kiva going through the trials. And I'll be honest, my main, I guess, not even concern, my focus was on the trials, because again it was giving ACOTAR. The trials in ACOTAR felt so similar to me. So again, vibes, if you guys want anything like that, you've got yourself like a recommendation. Except the focus wasn't really on the trials in this book, I felt, even though I wished it was. It was more on the, I guess, plague that was like bothering all these prisoners that Kiva was trying to solve, which the ending, again, people say it was so crazy, and I got to it and it's so funny because I'd say maybe 100 pages before I got to the ending, I actually guessed in my mind that, you know, if this thing happens it would be so crazy, except it probably won't because it's so far-fetched. But then the funniest part is it ended up happening, and it's so crazy because the second it was announced or it was read out to me in the audiobook, my heart was like beating so loud, and I heard it and I was like, oh my god, I got it right. And I was happy in this circumstance that I did end up getting it right, because it wasn't very hard to guess. People say the ending is crazy, and yes, it was crazy that something else happened and now I need to get into the second book. But I will say getting to the ending felt like such a repetitive drag, because again, like I said, I was more interested in the ordeals and the trials, and there was more of like a focus on her trying to save these prisoners and trying to figure out the plague that was bothering them, which is not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed that aspect of it as well, but I felt like it was a little too long, the book. It could have been, you know, rushed up, sped things up a little bit, just a little bit, because I was getting bored at certain points and it felt a little monotonous. Like some scenes I was just like, did we just read that a few chapters ago? We didn't, but maybe we did, I don't really know. But yeah, when I read the book last night, I actually ended up staying up till 4 just crocheting and listening and going at it, because I was so stressed and I needed to know what happened next. And I will say it was actually not that bad. It was satisfying, the ending, and I know I want to read the second book now, even though I was a little unsure about reading the second one at the beginning of the book. I feel like that's just a theme with fantasy. When I was reading Ninth House, I was unsure if I wanted to read Hellbent. Now I know I do. When I was reading Prison Healer, this book, I was unsure if I wanted to read the second one, Gilded Cage, but I'm gonna do it as well because it was honestly interesting, it was fun, and I'm having such a good time in my fantasy era that honestly I don't mind reading anything at this point because it's just so fun, and I'm so grateful I'm doing it for the video. But I ended up giving this book, I think, like 3.5 stars, just because it was slow and it was a little repetitive, and I wish the focus was more on the trials, because I feel like they were just concluded in like one chapter, but like the focus was mainly pushed maybe like 7 chapters in one go on the sickness and then 1 on the trials. So maybe I wish there was a little bit better balance, but that's fine. I had a good time listening, reading it, whatever. And I got through a decent chunk of this as well. I think I said it, I am decreasing for the sleep now. And it's so funny because last time I updated, I had the dilemma whether I want to still continue reading Ninth House, because I was getting so confused while I was reading that book, and I was scared that I wouldn't be able to do these cables. But it's so funny because when I got through the first repeat of them while watching the video I'm listening to, which that video is so perfect, the best little tutorial I have come across. I'm not even joking, because this is the 3rd time I'm making this, and that video just feels like, honestly, a crochet dream. If you need to make something like this, I'd highly recommend you check out her channel. You should also check out the video if you want to make a sweater vest, because it's just so cool and easy to get through. And going over the first couple of repeats down here, it's like my muscle memory just picked right back up. I remembered it and I was able to do it no problem, which is why I got through so many incredibly, I don't even know what, fantasy books, intimidating books, at least to me in my TBR, easily without even like batting an eye, which maybe that's an overstatement, but also I had a good time, so it doesn't really matter. And then at the moment, I actually ended up starting one of Emily Henry's books. I said I would be reading fantasy, so before you come at me and say, oh my god, she's reading a women's fiction romance, no, that's not what it is. I actually picked up one of her older books because I read Beach Read, I think like a few weeks ago at this point, maybe like a couple of weeks ago. Really loved it, 5 stars. And I wanted something by her, and I saw it in some of the viral TikToks. It's like a Romeo and Juliet retelling. It's called A Million Junes. I don't know much of the storyline because I'm not that far in, maybe just a couple of hours, but I'm having a good time. I love just listening to what what Emily Henry writes because it's so interesting. She wrote this before Beach Read. And I can totally see where Gus came from as a character in Beach Read, looking at the main guy over here, Saul. So it's very interesting to me and it's fun to get through, and like the magic in here is also very interesting because it just started happening and I'm having a good time. So I feel like this is a little easier on the brain in comparison to the other ones I was reading, but I think that's still fine. It's easy now. And it's a good thing because I need to be decreasing for the sleeves and I don't want to like mess up with calculations or anything. So I think what I want to do now, or maybe tonight at least, it's a Sunday and I do need to go to school tomorrow. So what I'm thinking is, I slept in the evening, I want to pull at least a little bit of like an all-nighter working on this and trying to at least get the front panel done. I want to get the sleeves done and hopefully get to like 3/4 of the book at least done tonight, so I can finally say that I've at least finished one side of the sweater. That came to hit me in the face. And then maybe next time I come to speak to you, we can start with the back side, which is going to be so much easier because I don't know if I said it, but I'm actually modifying the little video I was watching, the little pattern, and I'm kind of changing it to the way I want it. So at the beginning or at the front, if you watch her video, she's got basically the same thing over. It's this with a V-neck on both sides, from the front and the back, but I personally don't want that. So on the front I'm gonna have the V-neck, on the back it's just gonna be completely straight. There's gonna be no V-neck, there'll be only decreases for the shoulders, but that's it for the armholes. And then also at the front we've got these like really pretty interesting cables. I won't be doing any of this at the back because I want more attention focused at the front, just like I did the first time around, for this one at least. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, and I'm hoping that will be a little faster. But still, if I have to guess, I think we could easily make it through at least 4 more audiobooks in this video because of how long it's taking me to make this thing. And at the end of it, I also want to give it a quick wash because, again, I may have said it, I'm weird about cleaning. I need to have my stuff extra super clean. I don't know why. So I have to wash it, and that's going to take a little while as well. And while I'm hand washing it, we can listen to some, get some done. So that's a fun update. It's a really long one, and I'm going to go now. I'm going to keep listening and making this because I'm having such a good time. And a quick little last thing I want to say before I go. I'm on my 4th ball right now. It's nearly over, the cake, and I have 4 more left. So I'm hoping it'll be enough, which is so crazy because I got through 4. I have 4 more left out of 8. I'm not done with the front side, but also I think the back will need lesser yarn, and because the size is so much comparatively smaller to the first one I made, I think I should have enough. So that's my update for now. I will come see you guys hopefully in a little bit, not as long as I did this time, because I feel like now the updates are just going to get faster and smoother because I'm done with the hard majority part of the front. And so I'll see you in a bit. I'm gonna go now, probably gonna get some dinner, and then I'm gonna continue with this. But I'm so excited. I'm having such a good time, honestly. It's been a while since I've had such a good time reading books because mainly of my slump, but now I understand why fantasy is the superior genre, because genuinely best time of my life. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, so it's been exactly 3 days since my last update to you. I wish I was more frequent with updates, but also I didn't really have anything to say or show. But I'm here now and I have quite a few things. So firstly, I think I was reading A Million Junes the last time I updated. I think it follows like, I should know because I finished at this point, but it follows like Saul, who is an Angert, and it follows June, who is an O'Donnell, and both of these families, they have been having like a family call feud kind of situation going on for a few years now, decades now, considering it's been going through the families. And because of that, they don't really get along. They're like rivals or whatever, which is why it's giving the Romeo and Juliet that I told you about last time. And then there's also like a curse running down between both family lines or something like that, wherein whenever either of the families come into contact, the members, something bad's gonna happen, and that's what they tell you at the beginning. But then the thing is, June ends up meeting Saul, who is around her age, and she starts, falling for him, except they can't really be together because of the curse and because of the whole family feud situation. And this is the briefest little summary I can give you without spoiling anything, because it's magical realism. And then the thing with this book is, when it gets so much deeper into everything, if I tell you anything beyond this, I'm literally just ruining everything for you, and I don't want to do that. But also it's very interesting the way it's done, and it is definitely magical realism, but also the focus is very much on June's grief for her father's passing as well. I personally feel like it was more about June's grief for her father rather than focus on the magical realism. At some points it did feel like that took a backseat in the story, and I'll be honest, with all the fantasy I've started reading in this video, I've been so excited to to keep reading more, and because of that I wasn't so excited or hyped up, I guess, to get through this book, even though it's Emily Henry's. And I had such an amazing time with Beach Read. And don't get me wrong, the romance in this is so good. The banter, the way they talk, the tension is really nice, but I wanted something more fantasy core rather than grieving or magical realism. But then again, the book I'm reading right now is magical realism and I'm enjoying it, so I don't really know where it went wrong. I think it was just because I wanted more of like a fantasy focus, and what we got was more grieving, which is why I ended up giving this book 3 stars. And I didn't really enjoy it. Like, it was a fine read to get through. I feel like if I read it at a better time, maybe I'd have liked it better, but then again, 3 stars is not bad. And while I was listening to the book, I actually managed to finish the first little panel I was working on. That was the front side of the sweater vest. Now I'm not going to show that to you, I'll show it to you in the end, because I've like folded it up, stashed it away, but I have since started the back panel and I haven't gotten too far in. I have got only like the ribbing done and like a little bit. So it's like a decent little chunk that's done, but it's not so much that, you know, it's like substantial. But I wanted to come say that because I started a new book, and I think we might finish this or get most of this done while listening to that book, because it's on the longer side and it's very popular on Book Talk, and for good reason, because it's called The Book of Doors. If you haven't already heard about it, you even sit on TikTok, I'll ask, because genuinely everywhere I go, someone or the other has been recommending it, and I understand the hype. Essentially, there's this girl, Cassie, she works at like a bookshop, and one day in the evening, there's this customer who comes in, he passes away and he leaves this like gift behind for her. All of this happens in the first chapter, so don't worry that I'm ruining anything for you. But also, really quickly going away from the story, I want to say that the way this is paced is so good. I'm already a third of the way through the book, which is so crazy because I know it's on the longer side, but can I just say it doesn't feel like I've gotten like a third of the way through, because I started it last night and this is quite decent progress for someone who is not that fast of a listener or a reader, because I have issues with sitting down and focusing on concentrating on one thing. I think I may have said that before. Essentially, the man, he leaves this like book behind for her like as a gift, and then she opens it and she finds out that, oh, he's left her the Book of Doors. So when she figures out how to use it, basically there's like doors drawn in the book, and she can kind of use her mind's power or whatever, thinking, and she can kind of transport herself using the magic of the book through doors to different doors. So for example, if there's a door in front of me right now, my room door, and if I have the Book of Doors in my hand and I'm thinking hard enough, say I'm thinking about going to Paris, then even though I'm not in Paris, my door will open up when I use the Book of Doors, and I can walk through to Paris and transport myself there. And basically she's been doing that. So she went to Paris, she went to Italy, she's going to all these places, she's having a fun time. But then on the other hand, to increase the stakes in the book, there are actually these book hunters wherein they're trying to track down this book because it's like a really powerful magical book, and they want to use it for evil, wrong purposes. So basically she's just found out that she could be in potential danger, and she's, you know, got to go save the book, save herself, and that's the storyline so far. I will say I'm really enjoying this one because it's set in modern day, and then the magical realism comes here in the form of the book that transports her from door to door, wherein she can go to all these places from the comfort of literally access to a door, which is so crazy. And like, honestly, I love the storyline so much. I also love the way she speaks about books, because she works like a bookstore, and she has all this love for books and classics, and just, you know, she's a book girly, alright, and I love anything book related. A new book girlie is a new best friend. I'm not even joking, that was so fun to read about. And then now that the stakes are going higher up, even though I was like hooked from page 1, the way it's gotten now, I'm not even joking, I'm enjoying this book so much, and it's making it hard for me to like put it down and come speak to you. But I don't want to come and update next time with like 6 books done and the sweater done. I need more frequent updates, which is why I'm here now. Now I am going to pick this back up and continue crocheting, but the video was supposed to finish, I think, editing and putting up a couple days ago when I updated last and told you about it. It's not up yet because I'm just really bad at what I do, let's be real, and I haven't really finished editing either. So the goal for tonight is I need to get at least a little bit of this more done before I'm gonna go start working and trying to finish editing that and getting it up for you. So because of that, I don't think I'll be doing so much of this today, but my goal is to finish this by Friday, and today is Wednesday. I do have the next couple of days off, so I'm hoping we can get through it, but I don't know if it's unrealistic or not, so you guys can follow along and see me. But that was for the update. I'm gonna go keep crocheting now, hopefully get through some of it, quite a little bit of it, because let's be real, I need to get this done. This video has been going for so long and I don't want it to become so long to the point where this video is like 3 hours long and I don't have anything else to post in the weeks that it takes me to make it. So I'm gonna go try to hurry up with this, and I'll see you guys in a little bit, hopefully once I'm done with the Book of Doors, because I don't want to keep giving too frequent updates, but I'm enjoying this so much that I'm not even joking. I won't be disappointed or I won't be shocked even if I finish it by the end of tonight. Bye! Hi guys, so it's been a week since my last update to you. I wish it wasn't this way, honestly, but I've been in such a slump and I'm gonna talk to you about it in a second. But it's been a week since I've come into update, but I have really exciting updates now, so I think it's kind of worth it. Now, since my last update, or I think it's been over a week actually, because in my last update I was still reading the Book of Doors and I just finished the Book of Doors like over a week ago. I checked back today on my Goodreads to see, and I haven't finished a book since because of how spectacular and amazing that book was. I think we have found another 5-star read. It's so funny because the past 4 videos I've recorded, I've been finding one 5-star book in every single video, which is so crazy because I didn't find my first 5-star read for the year up until July, and now I'm getting one every video, which is so nice. But I feel like I'm blessed, and the Book of Doors, it was a 5-star. Now, the way I described the book, I know I said it gives you powers and stuff, but there are other books like it which give other different powers. So there's the Book of Pain, there's the Book of Despair, all these other things, okay? I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, and essentially there are those book hunters that I mentioned, and they collect these books and they want to take over kind of and like rule the world. I guess they're evil, which is why they can't have the Book of Doors, because that gives them access to more books. And so Cassie and I think the guy's name was Drummond, they're trying to stop it, which is so nice. Really hoping with that ending we get like a second, third book. Maybe it becomes a series, I don't know, because it's not confirmed yet. I don't think it'll be, but if it is, I'm gonna be so happy because it was so good. There was romance in this book, there was suspense, plot twist. It was so crazy. Every chapter at some point ended on like a cliffhanger and you were just like, oh my god, I need to keep going, because like when you start it and you reach that one point, you just cannot stop. All right, it goes so crazy. I feel like in the chapters when you're reading, you come up with this conclusion in your head and you're just like, you know, surely this thing cannot happen, because if it happens it means so many like different repercussions for the plot. But then every single time, the thing you think in your mind that, oh my god, if this happens, the plot is going to get so messed up, it happened every single time. And then after it happened, I was just like, there's no way this could have just happened, because if this happens, it can lead to 100 different other things happening. And the way it spiraled and that ending was so perfect. I feel like it was kind of like woven into the pages from the very first page, and then watching back to see all the clues the author left behind throughout the entire book so it can lead up to that conclusion was so spectacular. It's like a time traveling book kind of, and then also going from place to place. There's magical realism, and when I say this is the kind of magical realism I love, I mean it, because I love this. Give it 5 stars. I gave June Farrow 5 stars, The Unmaking of June Farrow, and that's what I mean when I say magical realism is such a hit for me. I don't know why Emily Henry's didn't hit, that was the one before it, but then after I read one book that didn't hit and then one that immediately hit right after, it was so incredible. I haven't been able to finish a book since that week, so I've been trying, sit down, maybe listen to like the audiobook for like an hour and crochet in the evenings, but then I'm, you know, going out, wasting my time and not doing all these productive things, even though I wish I was. So there haven't been really too many updates, but since the last time, to get out of my slump, instead of picking like a new series to get into, I thought maybe I'll just pick the second Prison Healer book. So I read the first one earlier in the video and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And before you guys ask me why I didn't pick the second one in 9th house, Hellbent, I actually do plan to incorporate that in like a Dark Academia books video, which I will plan or I will start filming for soon. So I can incorporate that somewhere, but then the rest of the videos I'm supposed to be filming for the rest of the month or so, they kind of have like a set genre list or like a set themes list, or maybe just like a set TBR for them, which is why I can't incorporate these books in, and I had to pick this one to read after the ending of the first one. And I am grateful I did, because I wouldn't have been able to get through it if it would have been some other book. And so basically it picks off from where we left off at the last book. The events of the last book, they end on a cliffhanger. It's kind of crazy. I'm hoping this one isn't like that, because then I'll have to get into the last book and I'm not ready to say goodbye to these characters yet. And over here you're introduced to like yet another kind of like a I'm trying not to spoil it for you, but it's kind of like a challenging situation when she's, divided into two minds. If you've read the book or if you've read the summary, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, I'm sorry, I have to be as vague as possible because I cannot ruin this book for you. And going into it, I was scared that it would have like second book syndrome. Not at all. This book is better than the first because it's so much faster. It picks up, there's new characters introduced. There's this one guy in it. If you've read the books, Caldon. I keep finding characters in books to swoon over, and Caldon is every single thing I'd ever want as like a male fictional character. And he's just a side character. I just want more of him. So I've been reading this book. It's crazy. I love it. I just love the way Lynette Noni does it. And I'm really scared that the ending's gonna have a plot twist, but I'm just gonna go keep reading to find out, I guess. And I think I have like a couple and a half hours-ish left. So that's a good thing. But also for sweater updates, because that's what you kind of came here for. Since the last time, I know I said I finished like the front side, but I don't think I showed it finished. This is what it looks like, kind of. When it's stitched up, you'll see it. And also ignore this mess, but this is finished. And I also just ended up finishing the back. I also lined it up a little bit, and if you see, it's very different from the tutorial video I showed you at the beginning. And that's because I didn't follow the video like at all, because I had like other requirements I wanted to fill. So I'll talk about that maybe when I'm showing you the sweater in the end, so you understand what I've changed. But genuinely, I finished doing this now, and I think all I need to do is stitch it up. It's done, which is so crazy. It's taken like maybe a month at this point, and I'm so excited just to be done with it at this point, because it's not a bad thing, but like I want to move on to something else now. I'm a little bored, and the fact that we're coming to an end of this challenge is so crazy. And I think 2.5 hours is enough, because the first time around when I had sewed it or whatever, it took me nearly 2 hours to get the stitching right because I wasn't good at it. So I'm hoping this time the 2.5 should be enough to stitch this entire thing together, these two pieces, weave in the ends and then dump it for a wash. And then soon I will come in to show you what the end product looks like. My grandparents, they are going to be visiting, or my uncle, they're going to be visiting sometime either this week or next week. So I think what I'm going to do as well is refrain from posting this video until they've visited, until my granddad gets to try this on, and I can kind of like include a photo of him wearing it so you can see what the final product looks like. So while you won't see this video at the time it's supposed to be coming out, I might have to hold off for a bit. I don't really know. I'm regardless just so excited to get it done and hopefully see him wearing it, see it finally fit. Crossing my fingers this time I got the measurement right, and that's so fun. So I'm gonna go finish off with the book and this, and I'll see you guys for the final end reveal. This seems so surreal to say. I wouldn't have expected this day to come because genuinely I've been procrastinating so much, but I'm so excited, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, so a bit of like a change of scenery from my usual room. It's not for permanent basis or whatever, it's just for right now. But I'm in a different place. I have since gone ahead and finished out a sweater, and I'm so excited to show it to you. But before we do that, this evening while I was finishing this out, I also ended up finishing the audiobook. So the last time I updated was yesterday. I was still getting through the second book in the Prison Healer, I think, series. I don't know what it's called exactly, but the book is called The Gilded Cage, and I finished that. And before I show you or give you the grand reveal, I thought we could just discuss my thoughts quickly on that, and then we'll get into it, and then the video is done. 3 weeks, can you imagine? So essentially The Gilded Cage, I think I said it picks up after the events of the first book, and it's crazier than the first book. When I say I gave the first book like 3.75 stars, this book is an easy 4.25. It's like a boost up, and I think I am predicting it. The last book is gonna be a 5-star, because the way this one ended, again, was on the biggest cliffhanger ever. I literally just now, I was texting my friend, marketing this book to her and asking her to read it so we could like talk about it, because I don't know when I'm gonna get the chance to read the third book now. I don't have like a specific video idea for it yet, and I can't really incorporate it in any of my videos, at least in the upcoming weeks for now. So I'm like really concerned about that, and I want to see where the story goes, and my hands are tied a little bit, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But basically this book has got everything. It's got mystery, it's got like a subplot of romance, it's got the like funny side characters, but also the found family is so good and crazy, and the way the plot twists go. And I told you earlier in the video that I'm stressed out over the way the first one was ending. If I was stressed during that, I don't know what I was during this, because I might have been manically hyperventilating at the last 20 pages. It was so crazy. I just need someone to talk to about it at this point, because there's betrayals, there's deceit, there's plot. Oh my god, the plot twists are crazy in this book, and the way it just went up. Like if the first book was like 0 to 100. This is 100 to like 10,000, and the next book I imagine is gonna get even better because the way it ended, everyone's gonna be at risk. There's so many like open threads of like storyline that she can pursue. It's so crazy. There's lies, and then there's so much to like sort through. And now that some reveals were made towards the end of the book, I want to see how they come into play in the next one. So I'm super excited and I'm so happy I'm done with it, but like at the same time I'm not, because when I finish the next book I don't have any more of these like characters to look forward to. Unfortunately, it'll be over, and I don't know if I'm ready for that either. So I'm gonna wait a little bit until I can, you know, get to reading it. But again, it's killing me because the way it ended was just so perfect. It wasn't, it was crazy, and like I need to know what happens next. But genuinely, you guys need to read the series if you haven't already. It's perfect like fall fantasy vibes as well, because it's like set wherein, you know, in the beginning, in the first one, she's at the prison, she's doing all these trials too, and it's crazy. So anyway, that's another rec for you if you want it. And finally, for the sweater, I didn't actually end up washing it out like I said I would, but this is what it looks like. This is what the finished piece looks like. I'll give you a proper b-roll, don't worry. This is just me trying to flaunt it while I can. And I didn't wash it like I said I would because I ran out of the audiobook, and let's be real, I don't want to start a new audiobook for something that's going to take me maybe 1 hour at max of washing it, because I'm not going to be listening to a book and watching it dry. That's not happening. So this is where I'm going to end the video. This is where I'm ending it with us having finished like a really amazing book, a great start and a great end to the video, also concluding the fact that it took me 3 weeks to film this. Now I'm not gonna read another book while I go wash this. I'll do something else, I don't really know. But like I said, this is the end of the video. I need to go record other videos for the week now, so I'll maybe pick something up from those. But officially, I think we got through 6 books while making a sweater vest, which is really amazing because I got through 6 books and I have a sweater vest now, which is also incredible. And I think I'm gonna refrain from posting this video until I can show you photos of my granddad wearing this. So I think I mentioned that earlier, but I'm gonna hold back, and hopefully at the point where I'm editing it, I do have the photos now. I'll have them up on screen for you, and I'll also give you b-roll of me wearing the sweater so you can compare what the before in sizing looked like and what the after. I have already tried it on since I finished it, and honestly it fits just right. So I'm really scared about the way it's gonna fit him because he's like taller than me. But at the same time, I'm so excited because I think I nailed it. And if I didn't, I can just come back for a part 2 of this video wherein I'm gonna have to remake it and listen to another 6 books. I don't know, we will see. But hopefully that doesn't happen, because as much as I love recording these videos for you, this took 3 weeks and I'm tired and I have to go film other content because I have run out of stuff to upload. So we shall see. And that's it for today's fun little long reading vlog. I got through fantasy books, alright. I'm now a fantasy girly officially. Beginning of the year, if I heard myself say this, I'd just like call myself a liar and walk away. But now I'm a fantasy girl, can you imagine? And I'm so happy. This genre has truly pulled me out of my like reading slump. It's giving me such amazing books and so much to look forward to, and now my TBR has expanded even more, which is always a good thing, you know what I mean? But that's it for today's video. I think every single book in this video, apart from Emily Henry's unfortunately, I would go out and recommend. So if you want to pick something up, you know what to. Though if you are like a newer fantasy reader just like I am, definitely do not pick up 9th House as your first, because I was so bored during like the first 60-70% of it until it picked up. But now I also want to see what happens in the second one, so maybe it was a good choice after all. I don't really know. Like I said, that's it for today's reading vlog. I hope you guys had a fun time coming along with me making this vest and watching the way it turned out, the process, giving me company for the past 3 weeks. Though honestly, I'm excited it's just done at this point, and I hope you are too. I hope you liked the way it turned out. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Actually, when you're commenting, please leave your thoughts on this as well in the comments, and give me a fantasy TBR to look forward to on the basis of like my taste that you saw in this video. And that's it. So I'll see you guys hopefully very soon in my next video, which is gonna be like a normal reading vlog, but I will see if, you know, we can try doing another something like this. Hopefully someday in the future, not yet obviously, but hopefully someday. So I'll see you guys very soon, and bye.